Admittedly, not much going on today in the NBA, but we still have 4 games in the association, some of them with spreads of 18 and 15 and a half, but obviously, like we do every single day, we're going to predict every single NBA game. We've got the Nets, Cavs, Wizards, Pistons, Bucks, Pacers, Clippers, and New Orleans Pelicans playing today. If you want to buy tickets for all 4 of these games, you could actually get into every building tonight for less than $50. Just pointing that out there. Anyways, I wish I had a ticket sponsor. That'd be pretty cool. If anyone's watching from like SeatGeek or TickPick, like let me know. I need that. Anyways, we've got 4 NBA games today. If you have not yet, make sure to hit that subscribe button down below for some more NBA predictions here on the channel. Earlier today, we posted our college basketball best bets with our first best bet actually underway right now. So make sure to check that video out in the description down below. And also make sure to go check out our UFC Fight Night, Vittori versus Dolinze 2 predictions in the UFC Apex this Saturday night. That's on Greedo Plays MMA. Go subscribe to that channel. It's linked in the description down below. Subscribe to this channel as well. As we go on to our first game today, in Cleveland, Ohio. The Brooklyn Nets take on the Cleveland Cavaliers. Now, I watched my favorite team lose to the Brooklyn Nets yesterday. Obviously, as it is, the Nets' first victory in, 8 games? They beat the Lakers by 3 points. Of course, I'm used to it at this point. No Cam Thomas. It's just, all right, it is what it is. We'll see if Cam Thomas plays today. He obviously didn't play yesterday. Neither did Trendon Watford, but yet the Nets still beat the Los Angeles Lakers in the Barclays Center, but now they got to go on the road. Now they got to take on the Cleveland Cavaliers, who are obviously on that huge winning streak right now, and I don't expect that to end tonight. Now, Friday night in Memphis, Tennessee, that might be a problem. The Grizzlies might give them a game. I still expect the Cavaliers to win, and honestly, and sure, again, I'll give you the pick right now, because I'll just be honest with you, that's the last thing I'm concerned about with this portion of the video right now, because it's Cavs Nets, guys. I'll just be honest with you guys. I wouldn't bet minus 18.5 on any sport. Well, no, football I would, but basketball, I wouldn't bet it. I'd personally, yes, if I had to play it, I would take Cleveland minus 18.5, and I'd, sure, money line minus 2,500 if you like lighting money on fire for fun. All right, if you do that, good on you. Send me some first. But yeah, Cleveland's winning this game. When does this winning streak end? Don't think it ends in Memphis. I think it'll be a close game, but with the magnitude of the win streak, I think the Cavaliers are going to try and really play hard to win that game on the road. Orlando, they should win that game. In Los Angeles, Tuesday, March 18th might be it, but if not, if they don't lose to the Clippers, and I know the Kings aren't great, they got blown out last night by the Knicks, like I said they were going to, but I think that's possibly where it ends, in Sacramento. Why? Just the pace of the Kings, how they play. If Sabonis is back by then, we assume Malik Monk's going to be back then. I don't know, second night of a back-to-back on the West Coast. Got to go from SoCal up to NorCal. That's possibly where the Cavs lose. If they pass that test, they'll beat the Suns. They'll beat the Jazz. They'll beat the Blazers, Spurs, Pistons on the road. That's probably where they get got. Just second night of a back-to-back in Detroit, they probably lose that game. If they can pass that test, they might go all the way. April 11th in New York, second to last game of the season, second half of a doubleheader, or second half of a back-to-back. They play Indiana the night before, then the Knicks. Possibly they lose there. There's not many more opportunities for them to lose, honestly. But I think Cleveland definitely does win this game. Again, they know where the win streak's at. They're not going to lose this one, obviously. They could potentially still go 72-10 if they were on the table. Don't think they're going to, but they could. Nobody's hurt for them. We don't even know if Cam Thomas is making his return tonight for the Nets. Again, he was playing, but obviously didn't play the Lakers game. We'll see. I expect Cleveland, though, to dominate. And sure, yes, even though the spread is 18.5 points, I would expect the Cavs to cover it. Next up, we go to Detroit, Michigan. The Detroit Pistons take on the Washington Wizards. Again, huge spread, don't love it, but I will take Washington plus 15.5. Now, obviously, yesterday they played the Toronto Raptors, and that game went exactly how we thought it was going to go. Toronto was going to get their get back, and they were going to pull away from the Wizards, and that's exactly what happened. The Raptors won that game up in Canada, 119-104. So now Washington has back-to-back games in 3 days. They played today and then Thursday against the Detroit Pistons, both obviously in Michigan. Now, the Wizards ruled a lot of guys out yesterday, so no Rashawn Holmes. Kuberly got hurt in that game, but no Chris Middleton, no Marcus Smart. Brogdon didn't play either. I'd expect these guys, at least half of them to be back today. They just didn't want him playing the first half of a back-to-back. now some of these guys are going to play tonight. So I would expect maybe like a veteran. Obviously, I expect Chris Middleton to play. He didn't play that game in Toronto because of rest, right? The other guys, I don't know. Like Kubalik probably doesn't play because he got hurt yesterday. Marcus Smart, though, I could definitely see playing, and maybe even a Brogdon too. I don't know. But definitely they do get that veteran presence back tonight in Chris Middleton. And Middleton hasn't been horrible in this role in Washington. Obviously, again, he's just a veteran. He's just a mentor/bridge player here. But adding that guy back does buy you some points, and especially with 15.5 being the spread here against the Pistons, I don't mind the Wizards covering it. I get it's in Detroit, and the Pistons are fairly healthy. Looks like Jaden Ivey's, close, starting to get closer to a return. Tobias Harris obviously back in the lineup again, but I think Washington's able to stay kind of close in this game. The Pistons just got off a long West Coast road trip. Now, don't get me wrong. The second matchup on Thursday, even though it's not coming off a back-to-back for the Wizards, I do think the Pistons decimate them on Thursday. Just because, again, they've already seen him once, in the recent days, and I think the second time around, then the Pistons probably just completely washed them away. First matchup, though, and potentially with a guy like Middleton playing, and maybe the Pistons, again, coming off of that long road trip. They were on the road for over a week in Utah, Los Angeles, San Francisco, up to Portland. I do think the Wizards are able to play somewhat of a competitive game, even though, yes, they're coming off the second night of a back-to-back in their own right. I think Detroit might come off a little slow in this game. Again, we know Cade Cunningham's going to be great. In order for the Wizards to cover this line, we need Jordan Poole to play well. We need a guy like Alex Sarr to continue on improving like he's been all year long. And obviously, Chris Middleton to play fairly well, obviously assuming he plays. No Bilal Coulibaly tonight likely means Bub Carrington in the starting lineup, or potentially maybe a Malcolm Brogdon if he plays. Don't mind it. Again, Coulibaly not playing sucks. Coulibaly, however you want to say his name. But I think, again, the Pistons obviously win, but I don't mind Washington's spread here. I think it's a much better play than the last game, if I'm being honest, just because I hate 18.5 points. Give me Washington plus 15.5, even though I do think the second two games today are much better betting-wise than the first two that we just talked about. So let's go on to that aforementioned third game here in Indianapolis, Indiana. I know what you're thinking. Oh, you take the Pacers every day. I do. They lost yesterday to the Bulls. No Tyrese Halliburton. They lost their third game in a row, and obviously Tyrese didn't play any of those three back-to-back losses in Atlanta and yesterday in Chicago. Hey, I keep telling you though, Josh Giddey's legit. He's more than legit. Josh Giddey's been great after the All-Star break, and again, he's going to lead the Bulls to the playoffs, guys. It's 100% going to happen, and then they're going to get swept by the Cavs, but trust me, Chicago beats Miami in the play-in. I know, again, not all of you guys agree with that, but Chicago beats Miami in the play-in. And then Chicago beats Orlando. Just saying, Hawks are going to get the Celtics in the first round. Anyways, I don't know if Tyrese is coming back. I sure hope so. Because Bucks-Pacers is kind of a rivalry now. It is kind of interesting if the Pacers are making rivals in the East now. Like, obviously they had the Lance Stevenson, Paul George era where they were very competitive with LeBron's Heat. And then obviously in the Oladipo era, I guess the Heat rivalry was kind of a thing with TJ Warren, the bubble, and just because, yes, Miami and Indiana were very competitive until Oladipo asked, obviously, the Heat if he could go play with them after a game in the playoffs. But it's okay. Or it might have been the regular season. It was in the bubble. I didn't know that for a fact. Anyways, Indiana is gaining rivals again. Milwaukee, obviously, with the whole thing with the ball last year, with Giannis storming into the locker room, and this year, too, with the Pistons. That's just because the Pistons are kind of just crybabies. Nah, I'm joking. I kind of like the Pacers, so yeah, I will say that. But, just tell Tim Hardaway to shut his mouth. Not Junior, the father. Anyways. But yeah, this is like one of the, the Pacers have rivals now. The Bucks and the Pistons, and these are rivalry games again. I would like to think Tyrese is going to play tonight. If he didn't play yesterday, they didn't want him playing a back-to-back, so all right, they'll just play him tonight in the more competitive game at home on national television on TNT. There's one game on national television tonight. It's this one. There's a reason it's in the thumbnail. Again, we're hoping Tyrese plays, so I put him in the thumbnail, obviously with Giannis. But yeah, I think the Pacers do win this spot. I think the odds of where they're at is just because, yes, they've been very bad recently with the injuries, and obviously with no Tyrese Halliburton, their leader. I do think Tyrese comes back tonight. Now, I would wait to bet on it, just because if Tyrese doesn't play, I don't really like the Pacers to beat the Bucks. But in all fairness, the Bucks are coming off back-to-back losses at home to the Magic and, of course, to the Cleveland Cavaliers as well. Now, the Cavs lost 100% expected, but the Magic loss at home is not a good one, and now we're expecting Milwaukee to go on the road and beat the Pacers, a high-paced team who beat them in the first round of the playoffs last year, and I know, again, the injuries that the Bucks had, I completely get it. But still, this is a matchup we might see in the first round of the playoffs. Right now, we will see it 4-5. I think the Knicks might still slide, but I don't know, man. I think they can kind of stay afloat, so maybe we do see a Bucks-Pacers in the first round. Wouldn't mind it. I also wouldn't mind the Pacers honestly slipping to 6, and we get Pacers-Knicks in the first round. Wouldn't hate that either. Regardless of what we get, I think the Pacers win this game. And actually, if the Pacers win, they're back in the 4 seed. So there you go. Again, the major factor in this game, though, is Tyrese Halliburton. Like, Pascal Siakam's going to score, but the rest of the team, man, they are cold right now. They just are. They need Tyrese back. They need Halliburton to get the offense going and command the team, obviously. So if Tyrese plays, the Pacers win. If not, I don't feel great about it. Milwaukee has some injuries, but Giannis and Dame are both probable, and then Pat Connaughton's questionable. But obviously, again, Dame and Giannis are really, let's just be honest, all that matters on this team. If they're playing, the Bucks have a chance to win. I still like Indiana to win, though, because I'm a huge fan of Tyrese Halliburton, and I think, again, he really controls this team, and he really, again, gives them a good chance to win. So I'm going to take the Indiana Pacers to win the game at home at the Gainbridge Fieldhouse over the Milwaukee Bucks on national television. Also, again, I don't think Tyrese doesn't play a nationally televised game. Right? I think Adam Silver's making the call, told him, screw the Bulls game, you're playing tonight. All right, let's go on to our final game of the day. We go to New Orleans, Louisiana, to the Smoothie King Center, as we have the New Orleans Pelicans taking on the Los Angeles Clippers. I'm going to take the Clippers here on the road, -6.5. Now, Kawhi Leonard with the, just continues his streak of the luckiest basketball player of all time. I'm not 100% serious, but, Kawhi is pretty lucky. But he's a great player, obviously. Top 50 all time. Top 30, 35. Kawhi's a great player. Anyways, the buzzer beater win over the Kings. Bounce in. Great. Lost me a bunch of money, but it's fine. The Clippers, they've won 3 in a row. We've picked, obviously, against them in all 3 of those games. Pistons, Knicks, Kings. It does feel like kind of a trap spot on the road in New Orleans, but no, I think actually the ultimate trap spot's tomorrow night in Miami. I think actually the Clippers lose out the rest of the way on this road trip. They'll beat the Pels, but I think they lose to the Heat and the Hawks, if I'm being honest. I know the Heat haven't been hot, but second night of a back-to-back, I think Miami can get them. Harden's been so great this year, man. It's crazy. Really crazy, the career resurgence of James Harden this season. And they're doing this right now without Norman Powell, which is crazy, but Norman Powell is their best guy. Harden's definitely been better this year. Beginning of the season was Norman, and Norman should have been an all-star, but it's okay. We'll see if Kawhi plays. Right now, Kawhi's playing. That means he won't play tomorrow night. Don't be surprised if Kawhi doesn't play tonight, though, because I think they know that the tougher game is Miami. Maybe they just let him play against the Pels. Who knows? We'll see if Kawhi plays or not. Because if you play him tonight, then he gets more days off for the Atlanta game. Who knows? Honestly, who knows when Kawhi's going to play? Because Kawhi's not playing both ends of the back-to-back. But I do select the Clippers to win this game and cover the 6.5 points. The Pels just played a very competitive game the other night against the Grizzlies, but it was a second night of a back-to-back for both teams. But still, New Orleans played them close. I think the Clippers are able to go into Louisiana and just run away from this game against the Pelicans, just because I don't think the Pelicans can match them scoring-wise. The Clippers, they score very quickly. And they were on the flip side of that in the Kings game. It was a weird one, because yes, it went to overtime. The final score was 111, 110. So, okay, you think, all right, just looking at the final score, high-scoring Clippers-Kings game. Well, not entirely, right? I mean, that game was very low-scoring going into overtime. It was very unlike the Pels and the Clippers. Sorry, the Kings and the Clippers. After an off night that the Clippers survived at the Intuit Dome 2 nights ago, I think they bounce back in a huge way, and I think they blow the Pelicans out of the water. New Orleans right on 4 straight losses, Lakers on the road, a home and home against the Rockets, losing both, and then obviously the last game at home where they almost beat the Grizzlies but ended up losing. Now, again, I like Trey Murphy. He's been great all season long. We know how great Zion can be when he is on, and Zion has been on recently, but I still think, again, honestly, again, if Kawhi's playing, I know Kawhi's not what he once was, but Kawhi will probably, limit Zion as much as possible, because he will probably be on Zion unless they put Amir Coffey or Derek Jones on him, or Nick Batum. I don't think so. Yeah, because they'll put Dunn on Murphy probably, or they'll put Dunn on McCollum. I don't know. They put Dunn on some of their best. We'll see. I think the Clippers are going to be okay, though. James Harden's been excellent all year long. We got to give a lot of credit to Ivica Zubac, man. Zubac's been so good, man. He cleans up everything, and he doesn't miss. Now, Evis Missy's been good this season. I think Evis Missy's going to be a little undersized against Zubac. 6'11", big guy, obviously Missy, but I just think Zubac is much better than him, and I think Zubac controls and wins that matchup, allowing the Clippers to just kind of pull away from New Orleans in this spot. So give me the Clippers to win this game on the road in New Orleans, Louisiana, over the New Orleans Pelicans. I like Clippers spread. Money line, if you want to play 270, go do it. But yes, we're taking the Los Angeles Clippers to go on the road in New Orleans, Louisiana, and beat the New Orleans Pelicans. So folks, thank y'all for watching our NBA predictions here for Tuesday, March 11th. If you have not yet though, make sure to hit that subscribe button down below for more. Make sure to leave a like if you did enjoy the video. Make sure to comment if you do disagree with any of the picks. We'll be back tomorrow again for more daily NBA predictions. Make sure to join us for our college basketball best bets. They're linked in the description down below, along with our UFC Fight Night Vittori versus Dolidze predictions on the new channel, Greedo Plays MMA. Again, that's linked in the description down below. Folks, thank y'all for watching. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Thank y'all for watching. And Mamba forever.